It's funny when Robin and I are recording our gameplay for our Game Guys show. We get to talking, and that's what these Game Guys gab are kind of like us while we're taking a break or something like that. So it's not really an official, hey, let's sit down and talk, but he and I, over the years, I've actually told him this before. I said, when we're talking on the phone, if you would just, record yourself, it might sound crazy, but my conversations with Dad, the one side or the sane side or something like that, because how we go at it during the Game Guys is very indicative of our relationship, and I really enjoy the camaraderie that we have together. We have kind of that gamer. I can't think of the right word, but prodding each other. But it's the kind of antagonistic prodding that you get with fellow teammates, and it's all good natured. It's never meant to really get at the other person. That's just not the kind of relationship we have, which hopefully comes through in the playing of all of this. So, but the what I wanted to bring up here was, one of the things that we talk about sometimes is we talk about older games, and the more we've talked about it, the more I've realized how I actually have really had a console of some sort. I'll just play a little bit of this clip from our other channel here, because the guys that I'm watching, the people, most of them are a little bit younger than me, but they're all console guys and everything, and I don't think of myself as a console guy because I had a PlayStation 2, still have a PlayStation 2 that you gave me for Christmas a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
That replaced there's always been a PlayStation 2 in this house.
Yep, since...
And Guitar Hero.
We first... Oh, yeah, Guitar Hero was a big one.
And a few Guitar Hero, because that's all I played, was... Other than, like, all of the classics, the Namco classics and Williams classics and all that stuff, I would play... I was like your grandfather. He was just Tetris every morning.
Yeah, Tetris. I remember Tetris every morning with the Nintendo Entertainment System.
The original one. He'd start that as hard as you could get it, and man, he would just play that thing for hours. I mean, if there was some sort of a world record, something like that, your grandfather.
Oh, there is competitive Tetris that does exist.
But your grandfather, I don't think he. And it was back. It was back in the NES days.
Yeah, Nintendo.
Man, but like the original stuff. I remember going to Wegmans and being able to rent NES cartridges.
At a Wegmans. Wow, they really do all sorts of things.
This is when I was in college. This was at a Wegmans, and so this was late '80s at a Wegmans, but also late '80s as well. I remember the first video cassette VHS rentals. I remember the first time I rented a VHS cassette was at a Rite Aid. So that's kind of interesting. And I also remember renting a lot of videos from Wegmans. I'm pretty sure it was Wegmans. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Wegmans. This is when I was in college, so I didn't have a system. So I don't know whatever happened.
About like the late 80s. Yeah, late 80s.
Well, 86 to 90. But I went. I would go to Wegmans and rent a video cartridge for the NES and go to your grandfather's house in Trumansburg to play it, because your Aunt Shelley had a Nintendo, and your grandfather, I think, but she played, because I sat there and I watched Mario Brothers or whatever it is on that one, Super Mario Brothers, or whichever. I know nothing about Nintendo. All of that. Mario's a plumber.
Those were games on the Nintendo.
I hardly ever played it, but I watched that. I watched that game being played almost as much as I watched Mary Poppins, because she loved Mary Poppins too. So your Aunt Shelley, she was a treasure. Anyway, speaking of family, this is a lot of fun. This show is a lot of fun for us to put together, and people seem to be enjoying it. So hopefully you'll check it out. Thanks for checking this out, and you have a fantastic day. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you're thinking. I will reply.